What's good, everyone? Welcome back to Level 11 Live. This is part 7 of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Nintendo Switch 2 Edition! I hate so much that they put that on the spine of the physical copy. That drives me nuts. Okay. So today is the ill-fated episode where I have to farm green crystals. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. So today's going to be a little different. I've got, I do not have chat pulled up on my phone. Hold on a sec, this looks different. Let me see what this is. Sign in to chat, what the hell? Alright, I'm not going to worry about that. But, so I don't have chat pulled up on my phone. I do have it over there, so if anyone says hi, I'm going to have to walk over there. Which is fine, I don't care. But at the same time, you know, be ready for me not reading your message for a little while if I don't notice it. But then again, this will be such a boring episode that I'll probably be looking over there often. Point is, I have YouTube pulled up on here so we can listen to YouTube videos while I do the desert stuff. Now, I'm obviously not in the desert right now. There's going to be something I'm going to be doing first. And I did have to look up a guide, unfortunately, for this, but it's all good.
How you feeling, Big Bot? No side effects from the hard restart?
Not so far as I can tell.
Oh no, what happened? Are you glitching?
I am making a joke. This is funny.
Yeah, haha, very funny. Seriously.
Bye-bye!
Because last time we were on, Miles was telling me, hey, look for more Galactic Federation materials in the desert, and I found some and I couldn't do anything with them, so I was like, okay, obviously I'm missing something here. So I had to look up what that was, because I didn't want to waste time looking around for it here. And I vaguely know roughly where to go for that. And once I've got that, and once I've got Galactic Federation stuff from all the markers on the map that I can think of that I know where to look for, then we'll actually just have YouTube on in the background. And we are starting with, Mr. Matty Plays' second channel, Retro Rebound, where he says, I tried playing Prime Remastered after Metroid Prime 4. That'll be the first video that we listen to when we farm for green crystals. Dude, I am not looking... I kind of wish I had done this on my day off, but at the same time, like, I also want to get it out of the way, you know? So, whatever. Either way, we should be done with Metroid Prime 4 here soon enough. And then I'll move on to my next game. I gotta adjust my roadmap, because my roadmap is saved on my phone. And it currently has a game that I will be playing eventually, but I gotta replace it with something else, I think. At least for now. Alright, so... hold on a sec. Ice blocker. Alright, unfortunately I don't know exactly where this thing that I'm thinking of is that's going to help me with the Galactic Federation material. I mean, I kind of know vaguely where, maybe, hopefully. But we'll see. In the walkthrough, the person playing didn't really look at their map as they were approaching that area, unfortunately, so I'm kind of having to go off of visual markers. But there is another thing I still need to get anyway. That's roughly around here somewhere. So it ain't exactly close.
If we can fix the mech, break down the force field around Chrono Tower. Also, how you doing with the hunt for green energy crystals? Don't forget to bring the green energy crystals to the altar in Fury Green so you can grow the memory fruit.
Yeah, that's not all that much of a help. Okay, so... Alright, this is one thing that I wanted to get done. Oh, I see, okay. Alright. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, this isn't the one that I saw in the walkthrough video, so we're gonna have a few more stops to make than I expected, which is fine. And, you know, it's a start. But what I really want is the thing that I need to start collecting the mech parts. What? Oh. Which I suspect is around here. Well, in that direction that I was going before I started through these green crystals, right? Oh, okay, I see. So there's smoke rising from that area. That's a good hint. That's definitely where I need to be then.
Samus, please, join me. Do you feel that? Dry wind blows across the land. The sound of the breeze and the voices of the creatures that dwell here remind me of home. My My family comes from a long line of hunters. Hunting is how we survived. Like my father and grandfather before me. Now, when I catch the scent of game in the wind, I remember those who came before. Anyway, I lose myself. I found something near the cargo launcher. I kept it, thinking it'll be of use to you. Here.
That's my guy.
Better take that chip back to Mackenzie. I hope it helps.
I'm sure it will.
May Solon watch over you.
Right, now then, I'm gonna make another stop before I head back to Fury Green.
If you're not sure where to go, you can always call in and ask me. You can reach me through the radio command on the map.
You know, I'm pretty sure I tried that last episode and it was of no use to me.
Looks like you got something interesting. You solved all problems with the force field around Chrono Tower. Bring it on back to base camp so I can take a look.
Huh. Okay, so my map reading of the walkthrough and what I could find could be a little bit off. Do I have to like run into it? Okay, guess so. Did I not get everything there? I guess I can check that out next. Alright, you know what? I'm just gonna start the video. Okay, so that sound effect scared the fuck out of me. I hope you guys can hear this okay.
We're talking about Metroid Prime 4. Indeed, the wait is over. One of the most and some people games, and also movie games, and that's pretty much
That fucking thing was getting on my nerves.
the Metroid Prime series. Now, what I haven't played here is Samus Returns. I did play Dread. I love Dread. Finish that. Also love that. And I played the game more. Two echoes.
Never start waiting around for Nintendo to make sense. If you want to play the follow-ups to a sequel, you emulate them or buy them online. They will not, like, that's the thing. When Dread was coming out, I knew, like, for some reason, a voice in my head told me, don't wait around for them to start making sense. Don't do it. And I was right, because Metroid Zero Mission, Metroid Fusion, those two games never ended up on Nintendo Switch Online until well after the release of Metroid Dread. So, I knew the same thing was going to happen here. Don't wait around for these video game companies to be competent.
The reason I wanted to do this is because I felt like
Now, I feel like I already did this, so I'm curious as to why there's an ice blocker on the entrance to this shrine. I still can't believe they're actually fucking called shrines. That blows my mind. Like, how much more could you possibly copy Breath of the Wild? I think that game ruined Nintendo's design philosophies. Super fire shot. Interesting. Okay. So the Super Thunder Shot was the one I was thinking of on the walkthrough. It was like I don't know where to go, I guess, though, for that one. And I feel like I did this already, so it's like you're just doing the same puzzle again, but this time having to use a different shot to access the shrine?
me take someone who didn't grow up with old Prime, like I bought it, and I stopped the game as a kid because I was stupid, I couldn't figure the game out. So I thought as someone with no nostalgia going into Metroid.
To be honest, I had the same issue with the original Metroid Prime. I, as a kid, just couldn't figure out what to do like 90% of the time, so I always bounced off of it, never really got into it. Played the remaster and fucking loved it, though. Oh my god.
That was adored and nostalgic Metroid Prime upgrades and story and delivery yet. Visuals. No one was before their time. Obviously, what Metroid Prime 1 did was be revolutionary, right? You take this 2D evolved it into 3D, down to camera, which is so utterly smooth, so impressive. Obviously, there's something to get wrong. It's the ability to go between two overall and figure that out. I feel like really good those things explore and felt even better in this desolate world. But beyond how revolutionary was, the remaster felt like a remake. I mean, it looked so good. As I described in my reviews, it always sticks out of my head. Why do you get it's dripping on Samus's armpit, in certain parts, like it's.
I wonder if they'll. I mean, I kind of doubt it, but I hope at least that they'll do a Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade to the Metroid Prime remaster I would be willing to play that through again if they did that. I might even live stream it if they do that.
Video game. It's unbelievably great. I love that picture for series exhibition. I mean, it really sets the standard for first party PlayStation games. And I know it looks part of everything here, but with this series, it has a look at it. Especially in its 4K settings. You also have a visual card that identical to the original. Is that it feels like an old game, and I love it. You go into a dedicated dungeon space, and it's just that.
Hey, Sam. Why don't you show me what Takavi found in the desert?
I've always had trouble, like, knowing exactly when to pause on YouTube videos. Alright, whatever.
Take a look. Oh, wonder what this is. Let's find out. Teleportation technology? No way! You know, we were analyzing something like this back at base. I have an idea. Yeah. And a little bit more. Oh, yeah. Let's see. And there. It worked! I did it! This is a teleporter patch, and I've entered our coordinates here as the destination. Now, if you find any of those missing mech parts, these patches will let you teleport them directly to base camp. I mean, I can't take all the credit. The Lemorn really nailed short-range teleportation, but just put my own spin on it.
Alright, well, let's save really quick so I can get some of my health back. Desert enemies were being kind of pests.
In this video is the Breath of the Wildification of a lot of Nintendo games, and I think this game
This is out of the blue.
does it.
Let's check, I mean, I seriously doubt it, but let's check anyway. Have I gotten enough, to get it to the halfway point? I seriously doubt it. Okay, I think I actually did. That's great news. Control beam boost.
A little bit, but sticking with visuals here, I love that for new hardware, the same thing that Prime 1 did this year, or in a day and age where we don't expect Nintendo games to look great. Now, the other tentpole beyond the visuals is what you hear, or really the lack thereof. Now, we're comparing these Metroid
I know this is out of the blue, but I am really in the mood for some Noria curry.
from here. But before you get to the next one, Chris, oh my god, getting fun for anything, anytime, any day. And that's what really gets me so in. But also the Metroid real this is it's funny because one of the most divisive parts about Prime 4 is its sound in certain stretches. Now, to be fair, Nintendo is really weird. Like paywall, the music for Soul Valley behind Nemo. I think this was a really ridiculous choice.
I don't think I've spoken about this, but obviously I agree. $30 paywall for fucking background music in an area is quite egregious, to put it lightly. Thankfully, and I mean, I'm not saying this to defend Nintendo or anything, I'm just saying this for my personal experience with the game. The audio, there is a slight, like, I don't know if I could call it music, but rather ambient noise for the desert, but there is some, and it sounds a lot like the same thing for the catacombs in Elden Ring, which I like, but the fact that they still did this is really scummy and shitty, and, you know, it's not good. And obviously, it's not good enough to hold me over while I'm doing a search of, Okay, hold on a sec. If he's gonna say that every fucking time, then I'm not gonna fucking put up with it.
Sorry, though, I still like before that you can before that. There should have been music sold out. I'm not gonna lie, that when the music's blaring in your ear during any of these 5 dungeons, that when you sold we'll talk extensively about sold out in just a moment here, but I think that Metroid Prime 4, for me at least, you know, as someone who's not an Amiibo owner, kind of does have that mixture of also just the silence. And it doesn't top Metroid Prime 1 at all in the sound category, but right from the get-go, I think Metroid Prime 4 just has memorable tracks. Like it's that I just get my own love. And I think that's just expecting that from being on play, will just something so I think Metroid Prime 4 is definitely up there. I love it's just Metroid Prime as we channel these unacts. The parts of Metroid Prime 1 and 4 that are really predominant. And that's in the blending of exploration delivery. It's really hard to talk about all of these separately because in Prime 1, they're so deeply intertwined. Whereas the biggest issue, even for I think people who love the game, is particularly its delivery. Delivery of tasting stuff about actions that speak. They're kind of saying is he tells me the moment he gets out of that game, he's got things unlocked. And I love that the game design complements this because this is objects in the environment. Things that happen in the past in this chosen race who's got a and got beyond that the mystery of intelligence to solve things in both gameplay and story. I think it delivers beyond sizing up the story on its own. It's really a holistic experience of Metroid Prime. Of a Metroid Prime game, which is another character. Yes, we're talking about Miles McKenzie, who was doing this game for a lot of times. He ends up ordering this guy back in the introduction to Miles. To that tangent, he falls down. It's kind of funny. It is with the style of delivery. Metroid Prime 4 was in development for a and he finds me that and planning to release these during work horrible stuff on writing and I feel like in order to not its original this is the type of the writers work. And so it may not be the case, but it's definitely a part of the game outside of the design choice of the game. It's Soul Valley where people look at it and go, this is I don't know if that's really where it's because I think Metroid Prime has been established for a while. What it is, silence is one of those things that it does. Other characters across the planet that are going to definitely can serve as a disruption, but I do think it's a bit oversold. You have a lot in this game who don't care what people Metroid Prime in this game from what I've experienced. I'm on the fourth dungeon right now. I feel like it's kind of a part of the game that you understand the critique, like I'm not understand the critique. I understand how people find it a little bit insufferable, but I still agree. I do think, though, that there is a very strong reaction. It's protected. You can understand. I just think that it isn't as powerful as other person's perspective going into it. This is the dramatic difference in the delivery of Prime 1 and Prime 4. Prime 1 lets you walk through the story. Prime 4 wants to tell you a story, and that means the characters, things, this world. It's a world that shows up in Prime 1 for more race, Prime 4 trying to maintain their legacy. So they're not forgotten to Prime itself. I think it's a pretty interesting setup.
I didn't know that I could actually go straight from Morph Ball mode to Viola mode. That's pretty cool, I'll be honest. I like that. Now, I'm glad I turned off voice acting for this because, just as I suspected, every time I get near a mech, fucking Miles will call in and be like, "It looks like you're near a mech." And for those first three, that's pretty annoying because it's like, "Oh, really? Really? I would have never guessed, especially since they were already on my fucking map." Now, I won't actually mind him calling in for the final three because I do not know where the final three are, but I mean, I have a lot of the map not filled in, so I'm going to start with the empty spaces. But, yeah, we'll just see how it goes.
I really think the problem is less how they speak to say this more to exactly they are incorporated in the game because they are directly tied to the some parts of Metroid Prime. What do you those points go to soul out? What you are the tranquility of it a little bit. I think collection of green crystals is a little placed, but also so it's all really there. But the problem is really is how can it call your attention to the center instead of it shows another picture over exactly at this point because it's not like there's this super crazy influence. I understand why people are calling it a higher level build because you can see all the colors. If you like that, it's coming to this point where we sometimes still need to talk about the Nintendo and Turn around. I found a little bit. Well, I'm really close to this one for me, obviously. This little bit of like. There's very little similarities. What we were talking about. They probably characters like Miles is only the dialogue, though it is the story and how it impacts the gameplay that Miles is known for. Who wants to crack the fire?
I agree, that was shameless padding on the designer's front. I mean, so this game, at the end of the day, when I beat it, it's probably going to log at like, well, 12 hours or so according to the actual game itself, but more according to the Switch, like when I go into the home menu, and here, like I'll just show you. So I go to my profile, it says 10 hours or more. And if I were to go into the game, it would probably say, well, actually, 8 hours is my guess. But if you look at my live streams, then you can see that I'm doing 2 hours per episode on average, give or take, and this is part 7. So by the end of this session, we'll be at 14 hours, give or take, you know? And that's a whole thing in and of itself, but I guess my point is that they felt the need to pad the game out because your average Metroid Prime experience is between 15 to 20 hours, even if you're not completing everything. So they probably felt a need to make the game longer than it actually would be without shameless padding. But the obvious solution would be to just make more game. You've had 8 years. Why would it take this long? And to be fair, they technically had 6 because 2 of those 8 years were with Bandai Namco. But again, this all kind of just goes back to the fact that it should have been retro from the beginning. The fact that Nintendo, for some reason, thought it would be a good idea to give this to Bandai Namco at all is, well, for a billion-dollar company like Nintendo, it's retarded.
It was just one small decision. Based on what I think a really interesting and it's been a working game enough about this way, but it's a game that shows
This is the shrine I was looking for earlier. Interesting. Okay.
what exactly can be wrong with this? Not say that people who think that the dialogue is the most thing in the world are completely incorrect. It's more to say that I think, to me, my deduction was like, yeah, if you really focus on the wrong parts of the gameplay, in fairness, when they bring you back to say Fury Green, like, the game does expect you to watch and see what's going on here. And I think if you indulge, the game is better. I think this part of the game's design fights against today's gamers who walk down, and they look fights against traditional reviewers who just but I do think it's a game that overrated. Despite its problems, that's for so far. Aspect is that if you're a one, the exploration and interconnectivity of its world is so snappy. Granted, there's a lot of one thing you could say, like, okay, this drawing, the shooting is not like cannons interfering with it, better, I don't know, but I don't think you can see anything, it's kind of cohesive and visually connected. Exploration from, you can like really cool things. It emphasizes the fact that it feels worthwhile, whereas before, it goes a little bit worthwhile. You want to go back and do all these things, but when you is too big and somehow it being smaller or just not at all involved, again, ends up being the root of it. Doesn't mean to worst game ever, it's mid, it's awful type critique for me, absolutely not. I don't think it's that type of deal breaker, at least. So, overall, 2 great games, obviously Prime 1 beats the more superior one, but I do like Prime 4, I think the improvement where to go and make it it just feels like the second they didn't work out, and the parts of the game that were entirely avoidable, and great parts, mixed back, it is really hard to discuss, so I want to pick it apart and talk about it with you all today. So that's my look at Metroid Prime 1, Metroid Prime 4. Obviously, I think many of us can agree that Prime 1 is the GOAT, but how do you feel about Prime 4? Because, again, maybe I sound like maybe I'm again taste of this video to put me on my own channel. Close enough, but really I think I'm enjoying my friends so far a lot. And I find myself in history of the people who are like really raised for me. Now, please take it off. Other than that, excellent areas. I will see you in the next Metroid Rebound. Peace.
Okay, so as usual, Mr. Matty Plays really tries to be like a positive, like good vibes. He's like, you know, there's a certain type of YouTuber that doesn't want to like be too negative. And obviously there's the opposite end of that, like, you know, your Synthetic Mans and Lord Frogmires and stuff like that. But Mr. Matty is definitely one of those more positive YouTubers. And, you know, to be honest, if I had to pick one or the other, I do kind of prefer the negative Nancy's just because, you know, they want the best product possible, whereas the positive ones are a little too tolerant of things that aren't really good. But I think it's important to find a balance, you know? I think it's important to enjoy things, because, I mean, you know, Synthetic Man, he's just at the point where it's like, dude, I just don't think he really enjoys anything anymore. Like, I mean, he did a pretty positive video on Kirby Air Riders, but that's like once every 4 years he makes a positive video game review. I think partially because negative reviews give him more views because of his reputation and what his audience expects, but also because he just, you know, he likes to be upset. And do I like to be upset? No, but I also don't like tolerating things that I ought not to. So I think it's important to have a balance. That being said, Mr. Matty Plays is just a little too positive and a little too tolerant for me. I still watch his stuff because he's not, like, horribly like that. Like, you know, he's no Switch Force, he's no Andre's Restart. Like, sometimes it just makes me groan when it comes to, like, how painful it is to listen to some of these overly positive YouTubers. And it's usually Nintendo YouTubers that are like that. And Mr. Matty Plays is more of a Bethesda YouTuber. So I can kind of see why he is like that, because he has to be, because it's kind of tough to be a Bethesda fan right now, to be honest. So he kind of just takes what he can get, you know? Alright, so I have to kind of go backwards and retrace my steps on this one and find out, okay, where am I actually supposed to go? But the other thing about Mr. Matty Plays is that he's not really a Metroid, like I just said, he's a Bethesda YouTuber, he's not really a Nintendo YouTuber, much less a Metroid YouTuber, but while I do think he's being a little too positive, his takes are pretty fair overall. I'll save my final thoughts on the game for when I've actually completed the game, but hold on a sec. Where am I supposed to go? I think I might have taken a wrong turn somewhere here. Oh my, I didn't realize how close I was to... Damn it! Alright, hold on a sec. Anyway, we're gonna get another one going. I didn't really pick these out beforehand or anything, but I guess we'll just do this one by Crywolf Plays next, titled Metroid Prime 4 Beyond Review and Analysis. I waited 18 years for this.
Waited over 18 years for Metroid Prime 4. It is finally over for the most anticipated game. It was clear to even create this game. As soon as the credits roll, sometimes maybe people are getting for another series. It's totally remembered this Metroid Hunter and was revealed when the Wii U sales crumbled and when 4 development was rebooted. Failures create major challenges for Nintendo and the Metroid franchise, and hopelessly prolong the wait for another Prime. In Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is but let's dive into everyone.
Yeah, this is the super thundershot that I saw in the guide before I got started, where I was like, oh, okay, I gotta go here to get that. Sustained electrified current. Interesting.
There's gameplay and design spoilers lie ahead, but no major story spoilers. Let's begin with just a general statement that overall, yes, I really enjoyed Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. And that's such a relief. If you're on my channel, you know I've expressed a mixture of hype and concern leading into launch, mostly due to Nintendo's dicey marketing, but I went in cautiously optimistic. Beyond
Dude, that's another thing I'm gonna say. Nintendo's marketing on this game was not great. It was not great. The first thing that comes to mind with that is the one trailer that was part of a Nintendo Direct where you had the announcer guy talking about using psychic abilities to operate mechanisms and open doors. Like, that was just... I cannot believe that somebody who gets paid probably a decent salary that works for Nintendo saw that and said, yeah, that's good. But overall, like, the lead up to the game's release, the fact that it didn't get a direct of its own, the fact that it, the fact that it didn't get a direct of its own and Kirby Air Riders got 2 Nintendo Directs was a little bit weird. Overall, the game just, like, I think someone else said it really well in the comments of another video, where it's like Nintendo felt, it seems like Nintendo felt a sense of contempt with this game in its release. And it's like, dude, Nintendo, it's your fault. You gave this game to Bandai Namco when Retro Studios was right there. That's entirely on you. Take some responsibility. Holy shit. So, that's how I feel about that. But anyway, we can continue.
The consistent, polished, and wonderful suite of Interestingly, many of the elements I expected to dislike without them. These are more nuanced criticisms of status and instead of 100% item collection. Without it's so well into the
I will not be returning to this game on hard mode. I won't be, like, I'll beat the game, and I'll live stream beating the game, but I am not returning to this game at all after this, to be honest. Like, I'm not really, like, a big Metroid Prime fan overall, to be honest. The only Metroid Prime game I can see myself really returning to is the Metroid Prime 1 remaster, maybe the original Metroid Prime, and Metroid Prime Hunters, actually. I really, I've got a sweet spot for Metroid Prime Hunters because I played that pretty extensively as a kid growing up, but, the only way I'm going back to Metroid Prime 2 or 3 is if they do a remaster akin to Metroid Prime 1's remaster. Overall, I think I kind of prefer the 2D Metroid games, at least to a degree. I never beat the original Metroid or the original Metroid 2, but I beat the remakes of both. So I beat Metroid Zero Mission and I beat Samus Returns. And I like those a lot. I really like Zero Mission. I think Zero Mission's fantastic. As well as Super Metroid and Fusion. Those are probably my top 3. Well, I don't know, because Dread was really good too. Yeah, basically all the 2D games were really good. I would say if we're including... Like, if we're excluding the original Metroid and the original Metroid 2 and only talking about the remasters or remakes or whatever, I would say Metroid 2 is probably my least favorite. But it was still really good. But when it comes to the Prime series, I think the remaster of 1 is my favorite. And I think Prime Hunters might be my second favorite, oddly enough. I don't think that Prime Hunters gets the credit it deserves. I also think that it tapped into more potential for lore than, well, I should specify, for character-driven lore than any other Metroid Prime game, just because of those 6 hunters that they introduced. And I don't think that Nintendo has tapped into the potential of those 6 hunters since that game released. And I think that Silux's inclusion here is a case in point because, you know, we're pretty deep into this game, and we don't know a damn thing about Silux or his motivation. We know more about him from Metroid Prime Hunters than we do from this game, and he was one of 6 antagonists in Hunters, whereas he's the only antagonist here, and we haven't learned anything more about him. Oh, okay, no, I was just in that one. That's where I got the Super Thunder Shot. I don't need to be back there. Oh, damn it, I pressed the wrong button. I was trying to drift, but I pressed the boost instead there. So honestly, right now, more than anything, I'm just trying to fill in the map. All these little blank hexagons, trying to get rid of those. And aside from that, you know, just get green crystals along the way. Oh, I think there's something over here to my left. Let me get this crystal first, and then I can go check that out. Well, better than nothing. Whoops.
When I initially started playing Beyond, the visuals immediately impressed me in real and memorable ways. It was simply one unbelievably gorgeous game for what is still a Switch 1 title in its core, but it was obviously ramped up for Switch 2 with its sharper textures. My earlier concerns about graphics at 60 FPS on a large TV, this was something that the early previews. Settings the most side of the desert here. More on that in a moment. Essentially every single experience. The first presentation is a majorly FPS modes which smooth. The voice with sleek menu system and multiple screens. A modern code space the game with those iconic alien sound effects woven throughout, and the strong players always chime in at the right moment. Presentation. Retro Studios is establish their own mood in which is often transformed as you progress. I really enjoyed this. Restoring power brings factories and machines back to life, while corridors and laboratories reveal hidden secrets and from spaces. Scanning these different areas offers the way of insights into the alien design choices and purpose behind each location.
I kind of forget which ones I have and haven't visited already. Retro Video Game says yo! What's going on, man? Thanks for stopping by. I don't know how long that message has been there, so I apologize if it took a while for me to reply.
Leans more heavily into stylized, futuristic sci-fi creations than most other retro games, which often focus on more ancient ruins with more subtle elements of technology, creating entirely organic environments. The Metroid elements return the air handled well,
I'll be right back.
with a strong emphasis on used in creative ways. This makes a great balance between different skills. Space stations and classic elevator audio. Since there's two capabilities that interact with the environment in interesting ways, including outer twists and classic powers, and the audio. They're much faster than the thing you'll notice here is that Beyond is absolutely brimming with ideas around how to inject the old.
Retro says, about 5 minutes, it's cool. Watching Champions League at the same time, nice, good deal. Alright, cool, good. Alright, well, I'm just making myself a drink over here really quick. I'll be right back. Okay. Sorry for the delay. I have returned.
Remove. The slower traversal without a sprint option, the heavy first-person jumping, lack of bloated RPG mechanics, and the custom graphics engine. As it tries to grow past older decades of design. In 2025, this often feels refreshing to another time, to new players who never experienced the original trilogy, looking at this type of game design. Gameplay. A couple of these battles are some of my favorite in the entire series. I also appreciate the variety giants with unique scenarios, while others are relentless and fast-paced. The variety as a whole is fairly diverse and impressive, though I wish there were a few more mature staples from the series. Most power-ups and Prime's lore feature exciting tools. The second power is far more controllable than expected, and introduced shine, unlike the procedural feel of many modern games, which is possible. Desert. So Beyond introduces several new elements to the series. Additionally, including this desert area serves as a highly beautiful to expand the world size. Overall, I would say that it's generally bland. Expect as a detour from the core experience. The Viola vehicle is more fun to drive than I expected. The vehicle deeper into the experience. It sort of warm up to the design after seeing it integrated into different parts of the movie. There is another vehicle variant that's better. I wish that design or something similar was the default vehicle in place of the motorcycle design. Isn't slightly more involved? Version of this experience. However, the one aspect is sold out that is really disappointing. Music or engaging audio in the desert. emptiness, or boredom, and we spend a long time there. I strongly feel they should release a patch just to reduce the number of players logging in to probably about 50%.
I personally agree. At least, like, so I'm apparently halfway there, but the number of shards I needed to get to a quarter of the way seems to be higher than the number it required to get me to halfway. Now, part of me thinks that that might have been because, like, it only shows you in those quarter increments. So my guess is, like, when I turned in the shards that got me to past a quarter, it was really closer to, like, 49% or 40% or something like that. And then when I got to 50%, it was just that extra 10% or, you know, whatever, right? So that's kind of my guess there.
The most annoying part of this whole thing is that the process every time you replay the game may be damaging a staple of the series. I love replaying Metroid games, so this is going to be a major determinant.
That's actually a really good point. The green crystals really shit on the replayability of this game, without a shadow of a doubt.
Just to just keep the same file set right before the end of the game, you want to just skip the crystals for the most part and enjoy the rest of the content, since you don't have to Metroid Prime 4 is the Federation Trooper companion. More open than anything as long as immersion and isolation. These episodes it's usually enjoyable or overstay their welcome and are ultimately a bit dull or unimportant. In retrospect, the controversy over the Miles McKenzie could ruin the experience, but including the first 15 minutes of the game in the official press preview was a bizarre decision by Nintendo. So,
I do agree on that. That was not a good idea. I mean, maybe in a sense it kind of prepared people for it, so that when the game had actually come out, it didn't like bring the experience down for the people who didn't know that it would be there. But overall, yeah, that was not a good decision in my opinion either.
it seems that Miles is only mildly annoying. Occasionally, other adjacent titles briefly cinematics as we videos. Most of his dialogue is underwhelming. It's not as bad as the initial impression suggests. The other soldiers are a mixed bag. The personalities are all a bit generic, and the voice acting is generally serviceable. To some extent, literally world building unfortunately, if these scripts are overly cheesy or out of place quotes, after having discussing Red Velvet Cake or Armstrong's awkward banter on the sandwich. Completely any sci-fi secret, it's strange that they weren't cut from the final release. One of the most controversial opinions for the system continues to pursue this more cinematic approach It's really should be given limited dialogue. As a person who is a stand-up protagonist, and the cinematic spirit causes for complete silence is still popular. Her major scene is always feels more natural. If Metro is intent on reducing the isolation and solitude of the series, this is the biggest essentially is two narratives going across the parallel. First, there's the story of the fall of the woman, the great tragedy that happened at the beginning. This narrative represents more traditional Metro storytelling, and controls this aspect. Discovering research logs and lore entries are what happens to team is as rewarding as ever. In traditional Metroid Prime format, the more you investigate, the deeper you understand the story of the resistance. Metroid Prime 2 with the Lumina temples, implementing untraditional scans to add detail and nuance. This is still a winning formula that Metroid knows how to implement. The game's second narrative focuses on Samus's rivalry with Silex and the need to cooperate with the Federation troopers to get home. This storyline is less engaging and somewhat disconnected from the richer, rewarding backstory and world building, despite some obviously interesting elements. Without giving the spoilers, there are just noticeable gaps where events aren't fully explained or don't flow logically, as if scenes were cut or reserved for future games. If you are familiar with Metroid Prime characters or the stories of the previous games, the Silex thread is even more random. There are huge jumps between events without much explanation of how things arrived at that state. It's sort of hard to explain without spoilers. I'll save the deeper story for another video. Now, the more subtle but notable element of this game is that, well, controversial to the series. Some fans might just recorded on Metroid Prime games. There's often required careful map analysis and exploration to build up your understanding of the environment to advance.
Scoutbot? What the hell is a Scoutbot gonna do good for me? Well, I'm not gonna worry about that right now because I am heading to the volcano area for a specific reason. I don't know if there's gonna be a Federation mech piece here, but I know there's something that is locked behind the super bomb. Not too deep into the area, so I'm gonna check that out before I see what a scout bot. What the hell? Why would I care about a scout bot? Is that gonna tell me where one of the mech parts is? Anyway.
Doesn't deliver that same depth. This awesome level consists of 3 vertical titles. The experience essentially boils down to trucking to the problem. However, in effect, having it is more puzzle. The larger is the more difficult to retrieve and the populace to reach the instead of less really to have to make it. It's very durable, related to the scope of the room. We must discuss that these vehicles are a lot of fun to explore. This video is deeply related to formula which we're looking at. This approach differs from our own record force to the century of interest in Prime 2. And beyond, this level of puzzle depth is largely absent. The hit that sometimes follows from Prime 2 to build structure enable deep puzzles. If this is the case, one more casual player can this becomes more pronounced as the game progresses. Once it's over this constant goes singular
It's the opposite of what you see in most games, no matter what series. The entire point of a video game is to increase your skills as you move forward, making the game more challenging over time, but it evens out because you're getting better at the game. So that's basic game design 101, and I do agree with what he's saying here, but like he's kind of saying it in a way where it's like, oh, past Prime games didn't do this. It's like, dude, video games in general should not be doing that.
Just thinking of advances, what do these changes towards being more of a portable shooter or action game with puzzle elements? Some form of daily For example, reaching the ice belt involves driving through the area, building an elevator, this process affects it.
Well, it's only because you're going for the 100% completion. Like, if you're not going for 100%, this is basically a 12-hour game, the shortest Prime game out of the mainline entries. In my opinion, based on what I'm seeing and hearing, I haven't beaten the game yet, so I can't say for sure, but I think you get what I mean.
Instead, within each vial, we put a specific energy controller room to transport to the matching room in another vial. This middle round makes you track around the immediate vial without forcing you to keep walking back and forth across the entire world for no reason as you walk through. For the most part, they are just to recapture many of the things that made the series great, just to reach the same consistent of new things, so that the work instead of the it's still a worthy return to the series after all these years. But differently, not one of the low points. And you have to go and be invested in deep techniques it's difficult to describe it as the real strongly encourage you to buy and enjoy the wonderful
Well, he was definitely nicer to the game than I would have expected from his channel. Actually, I don't know. I thought I was subscribed to him, but now that I look, I'm like, maybe... No, I must be having him mixed up with someone else. Never mind. Let's see. I guess we can do Donkey for fun. Well, no. He kind of relies more on you watching as opposed to just listening. Let's do Skill Up.
To the end of the video. For more than 6 years now, Squarespace has been helping me turn my dream into reality. Alright, let's do the disclaimer thing since I know how this one's going to go. This is a review written by me, Shut Up. It's an opinion, it is not a statement of fact. And no single critic review to this one. It's really, I'm not on the same page as this one. Most importantly, if you like Prime games and you want to play It feels almost identical in all key aspects. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is the game for you, so long as you don't mind being able to worse than one of these two. One, 2002 and 3. I make this point because I definitely reflect on the feedback I got from my group.
Where'd the scout bot go? Where's my scout bot? I was promised a scout bot. Miles, you little shit.
This isn't new, doesn't mean it's good. It's true. I think this is the first Metroid Prime game in over a decade. And I'm sure that plenty of people are going to be really happy with this because they just want an old school Metroid Prime feeling. You know what? That old school feeling is really the one part of Metroid Prime 4 that I really loved. It's been a really, really long time since we've played a Metroid Prime game. And it was just strange Metroid like this. This controllers, model of shooters that found its feet in the Xbox and PS2 and GameCube era. The combat racing, the shift of enemies, time to kill, the size of the and the speed of projectiles. The way Metroid Prime 4 treats these things was pulled from that vibe. There's a nice, familiar, nostalgic feeling that you get. It's also a great comfort to have a real Metroid Prime formula. And by that I mean, it's cool to see the world through Samus's visor. It's cool to scan things and let the flavor text do the storytelling. It's cool to be in Morphball and roll through the gizzards of a world like a sunken cue ball rolling back towards the dispensary. And just like these, Metroid Prime 4 just to look at Metroid Prime. But there's absolutely no more than that. And after winning this, after seeing how much the Metroidvania genre has evolved in the past 2 decades, after seeing how much Nintendo has evolved their franchises, I think it would have been fair to have expected a lot more from Metroid Prime 4. I don't think that unlocking the jump power up is going to cut it in 2020. I mean, you don't use that power up for anything more interesting than you can now reach before. Modern Metroidvania design takes the past and makes them more than just keys. They become mechanical augments, offering new capability deep immersion in gameplay, skills that more engaging level of puzzle design. If you in Metroid Prime 4, almost all the power-ups you collect have no functionality beyond unlocking for utility. Prime 4 also did expand the formula that perhaps they could have refined it, but it didn't do that either. Backtracking, for example, is something we look back on with affection because it was a simpler time back then. In 2025, backtracking is something we have solved. Making it more interesting. Metroid Prime 4 not only has nothing worse. Unspeakable loading sequences, and these weird, lengthy stretches of nothingness between the desert's exit point and the full place of seemingly unresolved. But I already have 200 elemental weapons, so I really want to swim across the entire map so I can solve a puzzle.
Is that, Takabi? Is that his name again? What the hell? Oh, I forgot I have the dialogue turned off. But you guys can read the subtitles, it's fine. Yeah, I'm more familiar than you might think. Oh, it's a missile expansion. Interesting. Huh.
Another 10 rounds, instead of innovating or refining the core Metroid Prime formula, instead bolt a bunch of bullshit onto it, and all of it makes the game worse. The team of companions you meet are an ill fit for the tone of the game, and they chime in with unhelpful advice and commentary all the time, and the fact that Samus just stares at them totally weird. So weird, the fight is such a disappointment. This makes sense in the desert is unstoppable. unspeakably awful. It is just a barren wasteland of boredom and disappointment. Its biggest problem. You better scratch an entire hour doing laps around this game to maxing the glowing crystals. Strong feelings about scared. I really tend to fan. I don't know. Absolutely incredible. But this is honestly disappointment. The franchise is to continue. It's going to have to be rebuilt from first person. Indeed. In the heat Metroid starting John Metroid. No, I'm joking. Samus is back, and this time it's season after power. He's to get them back. What? All starts with space station received by space fire. Samus returned the attack only for Scarlet to rock up, triggering an ancient artifact that whisked Samus away to a different planet, or ripped off her ship. First, she happens to find one off that rocks as we continue. Scarlet by Metroid. Biggest wish, silence. This guy first place capacity, and you get to see him speaking at this antagonist, but he's not. The game has no ability. Silence just rocks up a few times, you can find him, doesn't have any dialogue, doesn't explain his motives or whatever. I honestly don't know what he's doing, other than it makes sense. There's probably some coding entry that tells me something about him, but it's not really. It feels like the game has too few words to spare to set up a villain. The border story is okay. It's most convenient to watch fucking environmental storytelling and data policies and not cutscenes that are there. Also, it's got pieces to make it far more engaging and rewarding than spoon-fed to you. That's right, it's in keeping with the Prime franchise, so it's nice to see that Retro shines the display here. I wish they showed staying straight when it came to the obviously, everyone really went to town 4 miles during the previous cycle.
Alright, fuck this missile expansion. I'm not really sure what the game wants from me here. I'm not going to any of the main areas to find things. Hard pass on that. So we're ignoring the mines, we're ignoring Fury Green. We'll go here, here, and here. And here. Alright, never mind. No, we're not. We're just gonna go get the mech part. I changed my mind.
Metroid murdered it at his hands. The truth is, he's not that bad on his own. When he's put together with class that are equally goofy in their own way, the whole narrative part of the game is thrown off balance. The way it's best is that each dungeon is typically a bit for basically from dungeons clear. After that, timing on radio. These characters are very much phenomenal. Franchise, probably seen Miles' introduction already. Here's another one for the power lines. Tell us, dude. So, yeah, now you can see it's not just Miles there. There's also new humans a lot more as my source as possible. There's a lot of it's kind of there's a lot of characters. He's actually pretty good. He feels like he lives the game because he isn't trying to get some decisions for everyone else. He's a proper warrior and he's feeling things with the The crew is meant to be an emotional least game for the game. Well, let's leave on pretty heavy.
Oh my god. Never that simple, is it? Okay, well. Alright, here we go. Jeez.
Often, but it doesn't work. The set is it doesn't work. Restarts to come up to anything other weird, because the goal is to get me believing there's some camaraderie between people runs something is more than else.
Damn
This
it.
the most destructive quality is when useless they are in game-based environments. You know, sequences, the files, they mostly just die in the I have that new upgrade, which is not all because it's not specific, or he'll say, you should go to this specific place to get that new upgrade. There's no fault. Collect them and then grow them. Okay? And I'm just like, dude, this is
This has literally happened to me multiple times this episode. He's so right. Oh, what the shit?
what do you think? Enjoy it for the plastic. Pretty cool.
Alright, we got it. Alright, is that the last one? No, oh my god, it's not. Ah! Alright, well the question is the last one in Fury Green or the mines? Now, if I were to guess, it would be Fury Green. But I'm not sure, so we'll see.
Enjoy that. You're looking to experience it again, only with some annoying bullshit bolted onto it in Metroid Prime 4 will make you happy. That's the way I'd like to talk about how little this formula has evolved here in Metroid Prime 4, and its unwillingness to solve entrenched issues baked into that formula, and how I don't think any of this is benefits to sticking with what is old. Think of the entire overture. Think of the middle wow. Sometimes all the stuff that gets on top of an idea is unnecessary, or it dilutes the core premise, and experiences that recenter that original premise, warts and all, didn't really work. But I don't think that the Metroidvania I think that Metroid Prime 4 would have been a vastly better game that reflected some of those issues. The concept has a few different buckets of exploration well, how much will it be pushed through the in combat? It's probably good to look at the Prime 4 using those same buckets. Exploration is a key word for the Metroidvanias. It gets it a lot or get it off by necessary power, and you need so many different secrets to find it, with the possible consequences of story, so pieces of I think that this word when we're talking about Metroid Prime 4, generally speaking, yes. The pathway that leads us to one destination, and then we need to remember to dungeons must be converted. The dungeons themselves are strictly linear. It's a simple question of whether the requisite power operator to be able to obtain it. It's like 85% of that's what it's you upgrade. Put it this way, the single moments in this game, oh, didn't expect this to be so linear. So this one, I'm like, yeah, that's my point. I've already done this. I did it 2 decades ago, and I think it's so many other games. I think would have been cool to have evolved somewhat. There's plenty of other games in the last 2 decades that you find that 10 30 where it's really interesting, something like that. I think the game could have survived this because the next one was too big. The desert really sucks. Okay, so the biggest experience is close. Rockets, etc. It's not expensive, but if we had 2 locations, maybe you start with double jump and then you give us an upgrade that actually makes it a little more interesting in some way. That last part really matters. I think more than multiple ways you start unlocking new characters. This kind of still takes new exploration and culture of those characters. With the double jump in no utility in combat other than letting you go and see. There's no in fact, I can recall one platforming sequence in this entire game. So why did I get a double jump? Well, I got it because there are ledges in certain places that are too high to reach with one jump, so I needed a second. And that's it. That's all it is. The same can be said for basically every other upgrade. I got a last food thing that I can use to unspecific. I think the problem is that the Metroid doesn't make it that upgrades utility beyond their function as just keys and rich words of everybody deeply there's nothing about Metroid Prime Force upgrades do not do this because they're the most limited, almost totally sequences. Not that it was a and I'll say the preview, which is that combat in Metroid Prime this real old school flair that holds up all these years, especially because of the next year's so I did enjoy fighting stuff with Samus, absolutely. That enjoyment was similar to those other buckets. It's just all you can do all these years later. It's the weird black enemy. There are only two main enemies in this entire game. The three enemies in the system. You need the two or split. I said, there's robots and there's stuff. And they're there's sort of smaller bugs and only limited. You had unique enemies in each major dungeon.
You've got a point there, and I will say it feels weird not fighting space pirates regularly in a mainline Metroid game. Now, yeah, because they're pretty frequent in the first, second, and third Metroid Prime games, and they're only here for the prologue of this game. It's pretty surreal that not a single space pirate got teleported to this planet when all this other shit from Tanimar got teleported here. I think that's a pretty major oversight, to be honest.
Just bought it. The combat sandbox. As it is, because like you're fighting the same things over and over again, and the exact same way every single time. So it's not like the exploration is really limited. I couldn't even really call it exploration, to be honest. I think the Metroidvania upgrades are old and boring, and they function more as keys than as things that wish for more gameplay experience. Combat feels good, but it's really one note, owing to those Metroidvania having no real bearing on the combat sandbox and owing to a lack of enemy variety. Separate to all of that stuff, I think Metroid Prime 4 had a chance to tidy up some of the relics of the Prime franchise's approach to things, and it didn't do that. In fact, sometimes it made things worse. Scanning is a good example. So to get 100% completion in this game, you need to scan everything. And even if that isn't your goal, you still need to scan stuff and not just progress, because that's how you figure out what to do. But so much is scannable that doesn't need to be scannable. Like, if it's
I 100% agree. A lot of time was wasted on giving narration to things that didn't really need to be there for world building. It's appreciated, but I think it was a bit of a misuse of time and effort.
Works like every other door, why is it necessary for me to scan it again? If it's a control panel that doesn't do anything, why do I need to scan it? The answer is that Metroid uses these scans as a way to tell the story, and honestly, I agree with that goal. I think it's a cool approach, but so often I'm like, come on man, that didn't need to be a scan before. I'm not saying that scanning is the you could dial back the amount of scannable objects by like 50%, and the game would have been good. That's actually just it's made worse by the this game painfully slowly to get to the destination. So the way this game bolts together is super weird. There's a big desert in the middle, and it connects to 5 major dungeons, but it's the connection to those dungeons that's the weird part. Since there's an approach where you can only drive your bike slowly, and then there's some sort of lift or launcher or tram or something or other that triggers a loading sequence. Then there's this to approach the dungeon, and these spaces can be really long, nothing, particularly the one in the first dungeon, and then after you've done all that, you're finally at your destination. There's just minutes of dead time with nothing happening. The minutes spent driving through the empty desert with nothing to say or do. You're supposed to go back to Mars every time you finish the dungeon. It's so pointless. All he does is bounce his techno pedal, he enables some upgrade he's found, and the whole time you see yourself, dude, this could have been an email. And like I said, the backtracking through dungeons is pretty minimal, but it's also just not interesting. Good backtracking in the Metroidvania game was seen looking at those old spaces with new eyes to figure out new capabilities to do things that he couldn't before.
Alright, let's see. Okay, it looks like it's going to be 3/4. Yep. That's good news. Green Energy Crystal Finder. Oh, wow. Okay. I guess that's kind of helpful. I just don't know where this last mech part is.
It's just like, well, that door requires the electro beam upgrade, and you have the electro beam upgrade, so you can use that door to collect your 10 extra missile reserves. And that's another thing, because upgrades in Metroid Prime 4 are terrible. Like, you have these elemental weapons that you don't use all that much, and yet most of the upgrades give you more ammo reserves. By the end, I had 200 elemental rounds, and I'm like, I don't need that many. So why should I go across the map to go through all these boring learning sequences to get 10 more rounds? Like, what's the actual incentive here? And the timing of these also sucks. I remember when the little shrine thing in the desert and it's right behind that electro beam. That's the last beam upgrade. So it's close to used to go in. So even if I had discovered this shrine, I couldn't go in. So I used the original upgrade to and my first thought was, dude, what about the future suits? Why don't you give this to me now? I can't future suits. At the very end of the game, when I was forced to collect green crystals, more on that in a second, I used to be going to be awarded with the first upgrade for my beam town, like my main weapon. And I was like, okay, I really would have liked that 12 hours ago. That would have been a useful upgrade. But now it's just frustrating to know that I went an entire playthrough shooting stuff along while the solution to that problem was hiding behind the single most boring and loathsome task in this entire game, namely driving around this wonderful desert smashing results. So things like scanning, backtracking, the value of upgrades, the timing of upgrades, all these things needed major rework because they just feel so first class. Like Retro put this stuff in and they didn't have time to properly test it. It just feels so messy and coupled with the lack of innovation in the whole game. I still can see the scars on this thing inflicted by that troubled development cycle. Where do we begin with this? So the Viola is something you get during your second dungeon. That dungeon actually includes a racetrack that teaches you how to use Viola. It seems like a slide boost pack that you never really use. And it's a projectile. So it's bossing down this. There's nothing in Viola, to be honest with you. It's the fact that it's so being in the desert that's the problem. Viola becomes guilty by association with everything else. This desert. This desert is like top 5.
Oh, shit. I didn't even know I could do this. Hold on a sec. No, it doesn't. Okay, hold on. So I want to see where, I want to see if there's a way to find out where this last fucking shit is. No, it doesn't seem like it. Alright, I'll be right back. I gotta find out where this last thing is, and I gotta use the bathroom. Okay, so it is in Flare Pool, but it's in a spot in Flare Pool that I forgot to check. So, oh well.
Favorite places I've ever been in for real. Honestly, inherently wrong with Viola, to be honest with you. It's so being in the desert. Association more than anything else. It's definitely like top 5 most hated places I've ever been in here. Honestly, probably the first body flash and Kimberly in 2025. That's Highway Field. And so that's just goddamn now. It's still a beautiful space. It had clearly hidden secrets. Space had NPCs journeying through it. It had a game outside for it. It's ugly as sin. It's secrets. Shrines and records drive up to. It has 2 enemies. It has 0 NPCs moving through it. It has no motorcycles, so it was just the same. It's just incredible. There's something as drab, lifeless, and boring and empty as sterilized as made its way into this game. It has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. It's really does have that's the full story. This is so worrying and it was like more to hear. So, after you complete 5 dungeons, the game says, okay, time to get on this one. You need to do that. So because I explore the desert, you have to do that exploration games of finding stuff. And that is 45 minutes or more. So I did that to get all the points. And while I'm doing that, Miles times in every now and then. Don't forget to bring crystals. Ignoring you, because the green crystals are just things that you smash into as you're driving around. And the game never really told me what I would get from these crystals. It's not this progress bar. It was so incomplete when I was just about to finish the game. There's no way to go actually to collect these things. The completion is right. It's not. Nothing you have to do is to the Sergeant Johnson series, hey, we'll just need the memory. We're good to go. Hold on. First of all, I hear in this. Is that something that those alien dudes on YouTube really care about? The second, if your goal is just to get the squad off this planet, more importantly, are you really to make me go out and smash into green crystals in the desert until this progress bar is full? Are you really going to make me do that? Yes, yes. You guys spent more than an hour running laps around this game. This was what Richard thought would be a good use of my time after I completed 5 dungeons and after I said with this force field machine thing. He really believed it was important for me to try the worst open world hub areas I've ever experienced for more than an hour. And then, when you do that, and you do access this tower, there's only you go to elevators and then the boss encounter, and it's like, that's it. And then, oh my god, medium, and then the game asked me to press a bump in a pivotal cutscene style moment. I don't want to press it because it looks like it's a choice, and I figured that if I don't press that button, something cool is going to happen. What actually happens is that it's mission failed. Then I have to fight the final boss again. There was no checkpoint after anything, so I have to do it again. Because I'm stupid enough to think that this cutscene moment might have given me some agency. It really just completely pointless. So to you, dear viewer, I'm part of following advice. You better smash those green crystals throughout your playthrough, and you better press that goddamn button when the time comes. Did my frustrations with these final hours spoil the overall Metroid Prime 4 experience? Undoubtedly, yes, to a degree. Having those 5 dungeons, I was like, well, I didn't love this, but it's still a Metroid Prime game. And while it isn't doing anything new, it's holding close enough to a tried and true formula. I probably would have just had this video review instead of do not recommend. So Those final hours, man, they forced me to spend prolonged amounts of time in one of the worst open world hubs I've ever experienced, and they forced me to explore it thoroughly against my will, and yet thrust me back out there to do one of the most mind-numbingly inane tasks I can recall any video game asking me to do in the last, I don't know, decade. How does this make me the game? How do Nintendo look at this and think, yeah, that is that quality bar, and then to unlock this disappointing final location. We're so tall in the middle of the entire game, and you always imagine it'd be really cool to get in there.
Alright, well, there's our last piece. Okay, damage Dolphin's eyes. Oh, that was it? I mean, it didn't have a health bar, so I guess that's... Okay, cool, good. Alright.
Nothing happens in there, man. It's just you get the worst and it's so yeah, this stuff definitely pushed me out of the edge. Not because those hours themselves were so bad, or if they were, but because they prompted like a deeper reflection on the whole package. So much remains in my head almost the entire playthrough, which is really hasn't feeling. I'm awkward and feeling miles and gaps in the time for me to do something you're already doing this game. I don't kind of feel this all the force field and steam that you just threw. Really hard to do with like Firefly. And what is hey, zero. And I'm like, I'm not being pumped right now, like I just spoke to you at the team's base camp about the fact that I collected all the pieces from the wreckage. It's like, what is going on? Then there's the weird way the desert is connected to the dungeons with these lengthy stretches of hallways and loading screens. Things chasing onto a new collectible kit, giving me resources that I just need, or that I no longer have access to. No! Things basically over. This game goes to go, and now the league is released the first new Metroid in 18 years, but a brief time in the middle of a Nintendo Direct, a sacrifice of two directs for 30 hours, both of them nearly an hour, and just with one button. I think there was a reason Nintendo didn't throw their weight behind this one. I think there was a reason that didn't show off any of the buy all or desert game. Easier as they approach the launch. I think there was just so much money spent developing it, they just wanted to get it out despite the very obvious flaws and shortcomings and stuff as well. I wish I could say that it's good enough, but frankly, I don't think that it is. I don't think it hits the sort of quality bar that we've come to expect from Nintendo, and I don't think you should go out of your way to play this one. Do you really want to fix this, or do you want to? This startup a website is really helpful.
Yeah, he makes a really good point where it's like he's talking about how Nintendo felt about this game and decided, yeah, we got to get it out anyway. We've spent too much money on it and stuff like that. It's like it's really sad, but at the same time, it's like their lack of marketing does explain a lot here. It really does, and that's just too bad. Alright, well, here, give me a moment. Alright, I've got a choice to make. Do I wrap it up here, or do I just beat the game, rip the Band-Aid off? And I'm kind of thinking I want to just beat the game and rip the Band-Aid off, to be honest, because I'm ready to move on to the next game on my roadmap. Now, it's not like I'm super stoked about this one, or this next game, but it is one that I want to get out of the way. And as I'm saying that out loud, I'm kind of thinking, dude, I need to seriously revamp my roadmap, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, well, you know, this is a franchise that I'm trying to get through, just like Metroid Prime, just like Metal Gear Solid, so I'm gonna do it, but I think I need to start integrating games that I just straight up want to play more often. Because I do have a lot of games in my backlog that I just straight up want to play. Instead of them just being games in franchises that I don't really have much experience with. So I've got about an hour and 15 minutes before I have to hop off, and I think that's enough time to get through the rest of this game. So we're going to try and do it. Because, well, actually, no, now that I think about it, I still don't have enough green crystals. I just realized that. I still need more green crystals. And it's, dude, okay, so this green crystal radar, it puts green crystals on your map even if the crystals aren't actually green, which is insane. I totally forgot that I don't have the green crystals, so I might take back what I was just saying. I don't know if I'm going to beat the game today or not. But we'll see. Ah, fuck. I hate how plus is the button to hop on and off the bike. Alright, we are going to do the donkey video. Oh, whoops. No, never mind. We're not doing the donkey video. I forgot I turned off the speaker. I gotta go turn that back on because we're still green crystal farming. Alright, there's one I was avoiding because it had a spoiler warning for the full game and ending and stuff, but we're gonna listen to Ratatosker's next, because his is the one I want to listen to the most. But, I will, shut it off if, he starts talking about spoiler stuff, I suppose.
Metroid Prime 4 is out, and I have complicated feelings about it. On the one hand, it is a Metroid Prime, and it is very good. And that's nothing to scoff at. Metroid Prime is an experience. There isn't much out there that's hard. It's true. Hard. Everything's very much. Metroid Prime is beyond those things. Metroid Prime 4 suffers from truly baffling criticism. Again, practical things. Things like the character silence is Sam's relationship to us, the desert.
Have you collected enough green energy crystals? Don't forget to bring the green energy crystals to the altar in Fairy Green so you can grow them.
I really hope that's the game telling me that I have enough green energy crystals. I kind of doubt it, but you know, we're gonna stop by any green energy crystal spots along the way to Fury Green, and hope for the best. Someone mentioned that all of the elemental locations like Fury Green and Gold Forge and stuff like that, they all sound like different Mountain Dew flavors, and I can't unhear it now. And I just think that's so funny. I'm going to, if I ever create my own line of energy drinks or sodas or pre-workouts, I'm going to name them all after these fucking locations. The Fury Green, Volt Forge, Flare Pool, Great Mines. Okay, the Great Mines are like the exception. And the Ice Belt. Ice Belt's good too. The Great Mines are the only one that doesn't really work in that concept. And Chrono Tower, obviously. But the others are all like right up that alley as far as the description. That's so funny.
Independently with no thought as to how they would do it again. I know it doesn't sound like simple, but the game feels rushed. It feels like a lot of humans were experiments that were forced together so that they'd be able to get the product out the door. The stars were surely in trouble development. Now that said, I have to repeat, it is still Metroid Prime, and that means it really shines in places. My favorite area is the Ice Belt. The Ice Belt houses a research center that makes up most of the level. It's characterized by its fifth use, by its ice and crystal hallways that lead to long abandoned laboratories, with many doors and pathways frozen shut. The facility is kind of quiet. There's basically no noise that can sit on ambient sounds to give the whole place a creepy atmosphere. It's also quiet because there are very few enemies. Occasionally you'll find a maintenance robot, but these encounters are rare and minor. It just sets up a fantastic atmosphere to read the game's lore, which I believe is the purpose of this section. Around the facility there are more data logs explaining that the believers have been fighting same rate as the Lamont. They were transformed by the green energy shower, and in this facility they attempted to understand and reverse those effects. The data logs document their findings, their experiences, and ultimately their failure to save their race. In fact, the countless cows, breeds appear to discuss subjects, even if they don't see those cows being transferred. So the uneventful exploration of music is a good setting for this revelation. Then you get to the bottom, at which point you turn on the generator.
Samus,
This dramatic
found the missing pieces. That was everything I needed to fix Betsy. You know, the mech. She is good to go.
Excellent work, Samus.
Good old Betsy.
We'll be able to destroy the force field around Chrono Tower.
Yeah, we're gonna want to be careful with that. Just saying I had to get a little creative with those repairs. Yeah, I can only guarantee about 80% functionality.
Oh, just 80%. That's good, Gearhead.
We trust you. Before we can leave, you'll need to secure the memory fruit. Come back and see me when you're ready.
Okay, well, you know, we will see about the memory fruit. Memory fruit, holy crap. Why did I say memory fruit? Left the R out. The R is silent. Alright, come on, please tell me this is enough. Please tell me this is enough. Please tell me this is enough. If it is, an hour should be enough time to beat the game. Oh my god, it is. Let's fucking go. Please? No, it's not. Damn. Alright, never mind.
Hey, welcome back.
Alright, well the question is, do I wrap it up here, or do I get the rest of the crystals and then wrap it up so that I only have the boss left? I guess I'm going to wrap it up here because I kind of want to make the final episode a little lengthier. I see no issue with doing that. So yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here. Honestly, this was more fun than I expected this episode, since I got to listen to YouTube in the background, which I normally don't do during live streams, but I do think this episode kind of warranted it. I wish I could have gotten through the rest of Ratatoska's review, but we'll see if we can get through more of it next time. So, that being said, this has been part 7 of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond Nintendo Switch 2 Edition on Level 11 Live. Shout out to Retro Video Games for stopping by and saying hello. And thank you to everyone else for watching, liking, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. And we will see you all next time. Until then, keep leveling up, everyone, and take care.